friends, welcome to Science with me. My name is Dr. Erica and we have been working really hard on an amazing Mario game in Scratch. If this is your first time joining us, please check out the playlist and go check out the other ones that work as we go up. So we have added scrolling for our sort of characters that stay put normally, or Mario who would stay put, but we need to add some special programming for our Goomba. Our Goomba right now, if we look at its program, it's set to glide between 2 points. And if we're scrolling, that just means that the background's going behind it and the Goomba's going left and right, sort of unaware. And we're going to fix that today. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually I'm going to lower my Goomba down. We'll try maybe negative 136, so that my Goomba should be on the ground. And of course, I need to change that in my glides for the Y as well. So now my Goomba will be on the ground gliding, but that's still kind of weird because he's gliding to the same parts all of the time. And that's not very normal. So what we're going to do, it would be really difficult to have him sort of go the same distance each time in a glide without, being able to control the time and the distance he goes, but also monitoring where he should truly be on the screen to sort of match where the scroll rate is. So what we're going to do is we are going to do a workaround, and that is we're going to bound our Goomba by some bricks. And that will help the Goomba sort of always be in the same spot because the bricks can move. And it'll also give us something fun for Mario to jump on and off of. So let's get started on doing that. The first thing that we will want to do is we're going to upload the brick sprite. So if you are a patron of ours at patreon.com/rosieresearch, you have all these fun files. And you can just navigate over and you will bring out the brick. Now that's obviously way too big. Let's change our brick size. Normally we just go to about 10%, so let's change this to 10% of our brick size. I'm just gonna hit start and stop real fast so I can put these guys on here. I think it'll be kind of fun if maybe the first one's on, well, let's do it both where they're both on there. So I'm gonna copy this sprite. So if I right click on it, I can duplicate it and I can put this sprite over here, let's say, and we're going to basically force our Goomba to be within these two little blocks all of the time. And that is how we're going to make it, because we can make the block scroll, and that's how we'll make our Goomba sort of scroll inside of there. So let's go to our first brick and let's write some code for it. So when I start my game, I want to make sure that I am going to show my brick, just in case my brick gets hidden later. And if I go to my motion, I'm going to go to a certain spot, sort of pulls out where it's at right now. So you can see the X and the Y right here. That's its location at the moment. And you see that it pre-filled it for me. So that's sort of nice. If you drag it to where you want and then you pull out this, it'll come out pre-programmed. Now, if you saw our last video on adding scrolling, this should be not new to you, but you could see if you can remember how to do it on how to make this change. You can always pause to challenge yourself. So to make this change, we are going to forever do something, and we are forever going to change our X by the scroll rate. So if we go into the variables, we made that scroll rate last time, and a reminder that scroll rate is controlled in our backdrop A. So forever, we are going to change X by our scroll rate. And if this gets too far over to the left, I want it to hide. So we'll add an if statement. And in that if statement, to see if we go through with that statement, we're going to do an operator, and we're going to check to see what that X position is. So if we go to motion, we can pull out the X position of this brick. And if the X position is less than negative 239, let's say, then I want this guy to hide. That means it's over off to the left-hand part of the screen, and it should no longer be with us. There we go. So we'll hide that like that. And my programming for the second brick is going to be pretty much exactly the same. So I'm going to come down here, and I will paste this in. Although I don't want it to go to 32 minus 138, I kind of want it to go, right now it's at 207, so we can start there, like that. And if we hit go, we can see that these two bricks now, they move with the screen. Of course, we have Mario who can go through the bricks, which will be very interesting. That's not quite what we want, but we can fix that after we make our Goomba sit inside those bricks forever. All right, so let's go to our Goomba's program, and that, double check that you got your Goomba up here. And now we gotta figure out what we'd like to do. So I'm gonna move this stuff over here. We're gonna get rid of this glide. Our Goomba gliding is not gonna work for us anymore. But what I can do is I can always check to see if I am touching one of those bricks. So let's hit start stop real fast. I can always check to see if I'm touching one of these bricks. And in fact, I think I need to change where he starts at. So maybe I'll start at X is 96 instead of 214 to make sure that my Goomba is inside of these two bricks. That's pretty important. If he starts on the outside, he'll just escape. All right, so forever, I want to see if I'm touching a certain color, and if it's touching a color, then I'm going to do something. And if it's not touching a color, then I'll probably just change sort of how far the Goomba is going. So let's do that. Let's pull out an if statement, and we'll sense if that Goomba is touching a color. So you can pull out in the sensing, we have touching a color. If you click on that color, you can come down here to the little eyedropper, and we can click on the brown of the brick. So if he's touching that color, that means that my Goomba sort of, let's say, going to the left, he's touching this color, I want my Goomba to start going to the right. And if he touches the color again, I want my Goomba to go back to the left. So I kind of always want my Goomba to be switching the direction that it's going. Not necessarily the speed, but its direction. And that's kind of interesting because how do I monitor that? And what we can do is we can actually create a variable for our Goomba, and we will call this variable our Goomba speed. Oops, Goomba speed. And you could keep it for all sprites, it really just needs to be for this sprite. And what we'll do is, let's set our Goomba speed up here. So we can set our Goomba speed to how fast we want our Goomba to go. Maybe our Goomba goes 3. And of course then to make my Goomba move, I would change my X by that Goomba speed. Right, but if it's touching this color, then I don't want to change the X by the Goomba speed. I kind of want to change it by the negative of the Goomba speed. Right, so we're going to put this up here. Oops, that guy will go down below. So let's see what we're going to do if we're touching this color. Well, if I touch that color, I want to change the direction of my Goomba speed. So I can set my Goomba speed, and I can pull out an operator that's a multiplier, and I can multiply my speed by -1. So I can take -1 times my Goomba speed, and that really changes the direction from left to right or from right to left. It doesn't matter which way it's going. Whoops. It will always change the direction from left to right or from right to left. So if it's doing that, I want to change the direction of my Goomba. Now, what we'll notice though is that he sort of does this weird bouncing around in there, and he then still gets through. Because once he touches it, he's still touching it, and he's still touching it, and so he sort of does this weird bouncing of changing the direction, but he never gets back out over into this blue spot. And one little trick that I found to do this is that we can pull out a repeat loop, and we can change X by -1 times the Goomba speed. So we can actually duplicate this little guy right here, and we can change the X by that. Now this is going to just pop him off really, really fast, right? And then he won't be touching the color anymore, so we will no longer flip-flop that Goomba speed. So, and if we do it 10 times, then we will just sort of like move him a good chunk over, and we can see how this works. There we go. He sort of goes the other direction. Ooh, he still escaped. So let's see what is going on there. And before I fix that, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to also double check. So you'll notice my Goomba goes really slow going one direction and then really fast going the other direction. So let's fix that and see if that helps us in any way. And the way that we can do that is if our Goomba speed is positive, we actually want to set the Goomba speed to the Goomba plus the scroll rate. We might be off by a -1, but let's check and see. So let's do our operators, and we are going to check to see if our Goomba speed is bigger than 0. So we'll pull this over into my greater than And we'll check to see if the Goomba speed is greater than 0. And if it is, I actually want to change my Goomba speed. So I'll set my Goomba speed to, and I'm going to add to it. So I pull out my plus operator, and I'm going to add my Goomba speed and my scroll rate together. We'll put that right in there. And we can plop this right down here. And let's see how that works for my Goomba speed. Ooh, he went straight on through. Interesting. All right, so let's take a look at this. I think the first thing we're gonna wanna do is actually put this repeat. That should go inside of there. And we're gonna throw it off of it, so it should be a -1 in there instead of a +1. You can see if that helps us at all. But our Goomba still goes through. So I think what we're gonna do is, let's see if instead of it's touching a color, let's see if it's actually touching one of those bricks. So we can go to our operators, we can pull out our OR statement, go back into sensing and see if it is touching Mario brick. We can duplicate this and see if it's touching Mario brick 2. And then let's see what that does. Maybe the color sensing is a little funny. So that one, it did throw him back that direction, but not the other way, which is sort of interesting. Let's see, let's delete this part for now and take a look at what that does. When we restart it, he's got to start with inside. There we go. All right. So it looks like if we were, this check about the Goomba speed was messing us up. Let's pull that off to the side. We'll leave this as is for the moment. Now the other funny thing is that Mario can walk through these bricks, and that is like not normal. The Goomba sort of sees it as real now, but Mario does not. So what we can do is we can take a check and see if Mario is touching either of these guys, and we can program accordingly. You could also do this by checking to see if he is touching that color, but for some reason today my colored sensing does not seem to be on point. It seems like it might change sort of either depending on the day or maybe tiny bits of change in your code. So over in our Mario code, we have checked to see if it's touching the ground. In fact, we could even probably make better ground. Well, our whole sprite actually is this backdrop, so that won't work. But we can check to see if it's touching the green of our ground or if it's touching this brick. So let's pull out in our operators, we'll pull out an OR operator, and we want to know if it's touching this color or if it's touching the brick. Let's see, sensing, and we'll see how this guy works. We could also choose to touch that color. And of course, since we have 2 bricks, oops. Of course, if we have 2 bricks, we're gonna need 2 OR statements here. So this will go into another OR. It's a really big OR. Whoop. And zoom out just a little bit so we can move this. Go! There it is. There we go. So if it's touching that, or if it's touching the second brick. Now what's nice about if you do the color those, you can add all of those bricks in. So I think we should try with the colors first and see how that works out for us. Because then if we add more bricks in, it's still there for us. Let's see, we messed up a little bit of our programming while doing this. So we're gonna wanna fix that. Should be Y velocity to 0. I'm not sure where this Y velocity came from. I'm sure we will find out though. All right, so if it's touching that color, or let's see if it's touching the other color. So let's take our color picker here, and we'll sense this color. And so if it's touching those 2 things, we want our Y velocity to go to 0. This should let us jump on top of the brick. Let's see if we can jump. There we go. We can jump on top of that brick for us. Although my jump is a little funny, and I'm guessing it's because of that Y that I missed. Oh, here it goes. It goes right here. So Y velocity goes right there. Let's put that back in. Right there. All right. So I can jump on top of the brick, but I can still walk through the brick. So that's sort of interesting. We don't really want to be able to walk through the brick, and we can fix that by looking at setting our X velocity to 0 in a certain situation. Now we would do that if we're going to the right or to the left. So what we'll do is, if our right arrow is pressed, let's check to see if we are touching that color. And we'll do an if else, because if it's not touching the color, we actually want to do all of the same stuff. So you can drag in those orange lines of changing our X velocity and our walk status into our else statement. And then if we are touching that color, now just touching the color is not enough, because if I'm touching the color and I'm standing on top of it, I still want to be able to move right and left. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to use an operator, the AND operator. And this way I can check to see if I'm on the ground and I'm touching. So one of the sensing will be touching that color. In fact, let's just copy it from right here. So if we're touching the color, then we want the X velocity to be 0, but we also want to make sure we're on the ground. And that is a check on our Y position. And so if we can say if our Y position is less than a certain number, then you're also going to do that. So let's check our Y position. And I think Mario, when he's walking around town on our little thing, is at minus 239. Oh, the Y, minus 130. So let's say if it's less than minus 125, and it's touching that color, then I don't want him to be able to go through. I want him to sort of be stuck. So I can set my X velocity down here to 0. And this is all going to go back underneath that point in the direction for my right arrow. So now I can no longer get through this brick that direction, but this way I can go through the brick. And that's because I'm using the left arrow and not the right arrow there. So let's copy this code. We can duplicate, oops, not that part of it. We want to duplicate this whole if part right here. And we can throw away our X, well no, our X stuff is going to stay the same. But we are going to change our X velocity by -1 instead, because we want to go the other direction. And then we will throw these two guys away, and we will replace it with this if-else statement. Right in there, so we have if our left arrow is pressed, we point in the right direction. We check to see if we are on the ground and to also touching the brick. And if so, we're going to set our X velocity to 0. You're not allowed to move through that brick. Otherwise, yeah, you can walk around. And so now, if I come through here, I can not go this direction, and I can not go the other direction, which is exactly what I wanted for that. So in our next video, we are actually going to also help ourselves finish this game, because right now we sort of have a really long game. It's going to keep scrolling, and at some point it's going to scroll into that other backdrop, and maybe we just want to finish it like, I don't know, when this castle comes up, instead of having this backdrop come out like that. So we're going to figure out how we can solve that problem with a few other changes to our code, and then our other video will end up being looking at how we can make the program run a little bit better and debugging it some. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, friends.